views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV.
We've been, the last 2 weeks we sort of took off because we may or may not have overexerted ourselves on our weekend posts when we were at the various bashes. Lisa Walters wants to know what is required for me to be a guest next time I'm in Vegas. Send us a message and be here on a Tuesday at 7 p.m. and we'll tell you where to go.
Yep.
Actually, be here at like 6:45 because sometimes we like to kvetch beforehand.
We honestly don't care if you have nothing to sell, nothing to shill. You just want to hang out with us girls and talk about whatever we're talking about.
Come and be on the panel. We are always recruiting for new members. We're like Menudo. One of these days I'm aging out.
We've had quite
I'm like the cast in 90210. I'm still going to be here when I'm way too old to be here. And I'm going to portray like I'm really young, but I'm not.
We've had quite a few hosts in our midst.
We have.
Yeah. I got to see Glitz at one of the bashes. And got to speak with her and talk with her and catch up on her life and stuff, and that was great.
I can have this on the table.
Oh, yes, you
There's
can.
no label on it.
Yeah. That's a lot of drink.
It's a mix of tea and water, so
I have to pee just looking
I
at
know.
it. Like it makes me have to
You could
urine.
drink it all and then pee into it.
I would have to because if I ingested that much liquid. And tea is a diuretic or something? Because tea makes me just go to town.
makes you wee-wee.
Makes me wee-wee a lot.
Tea makes you wee.
A lot more than other drinks do. A lot more than regular water. A lot more than coffee.
Yeah.
It does not do that to me. Most people drink
Tea makes me
gallons.
pee.
Yeah. Most people drink gallons of coffee every day, and you're like, oh my God, you drink so much coffee. I get away with drinking that much caffeine because I drink it in the form of iced tea. And most people don't know there is just as much caffeine in iced tea as there is in coffee.
True.
So I am just as jacked on caffeine as everyone else is. And I know if by like noon I haven't had a cup of coffee or a glass of tea, I'm feeling it.
I don't get till noon. I get headaches. I have an addiction. And so I get the headaches. How did you get that ginormous chunk of ice in your container?
So I'm going to tell you something that will blow your mind and blows I teach a class on Wednesday nights at my house, and they asked me the same question. So what you do?
This is, just so you know, this is SCB craft version.
This is a SCB DIY something or other. Okay, so you get a big jug. If you want ice in your big jug, you fill the jug halfway with water, and then you put it in your freezer, but you tilt it sideways. So what happens is you get this large flat surface of ice, right? So when your water goes in there, you have more water in contact with the ice, so your water gets colder faster. And then you also end up with a nice big ass.
I can just see people rearranging their TV dinners and popsicles.
That's
in
what
the
I had to do.
freezer to tilt their.
I was like, peas go here, sugar-free popsicles here, water jug.
You got to put some behind so it doesn't tip back up
You
because of
don't
the
have
water.
a second freezer, do you?
I do in the garage.
Oh, okay.
And it's full of stuff that I'm like,
Bodies.
and mostly, here's the thing. I have an entire shelf just for ice packs to use on my knee. Because one will run out and then I'll forget to put it in the freezer. And then I'll be like, damn it, I don't have an ice pack for my knee today. But no, lo and behold, I have a whole shelf of ice packs now. So occasionally,
Just put your body in there, like,
I
just
wish I
stick your knee
could.
in the shelf of ice packs. And
I wish I could. I found out this week that it may not be osteoarthritis in my left knee that I've been told I have had for 4 years now. I might have rheumatoid arthritis. A lot of the other symptoms of things that I have going on. The rheumatologist said, have you ever been tested for RA? And I'm like, no. She pulled up all my back tests. She's like, you've been tested for every other autoimmune disease except RA. And I'm like, that sounds about right. She's like, I'm ordering an RA test for you. So I got to go get RA tested because, yeah, I may be able to take turmeric and be okay.
I know I have a friend who's been suffering.
Trying it anyway.
I have a friend who's been suffering from RA for a really, really long time, and he has tried every crazy homeopathic thing in the world, and hardly any of them work.
And I have a student who has RA who swears by turmeric. She takes turmeric every day. And so
this is what I know. I'm not a big fan of homeopathic medicines, but I do know that some things do work.
For
right?
some people.
Like warm milk and with a little bit of sugar or honey or whatever will put you to sleep. I know that stuff works.
Or make you incredibly sick if you're lactose intolerant.
Right. It all depends
Super
on
farty.
your body. So if you see a cure for something and you want to give it a try, run it by your doctor to make sure you're not allergic to the fucking honey or lactose intolerant or, that it's going to agree with you, number one. Run it by your regular doctor and then try it and try it slowly.
All right, Lionel. All right, let's address this dude. Lionel Zico, I want BBW women who I find it. First off, none of that makes sense. And second off, fuck off. We are not a dating site, and we're not going to hook you up with any of our friends because you are not worthy of any of the women we know.
I would think if you want to find BBW women, you could just walk down any street in America and see some beautiful women who are full-figured.
Yes, but don't just touch them. Please,
Right.
Please don't touch them. Please don't touch random people that you do not know. That's, like, not cool, man.
So
Well, no, go
but it's
ahead
because
and-
we know that that's not really his wanted question. He doesn't want to just find BBW women. He wants to find BBW women who will touch him.
How do you
Back.
know? You got that out of that?
No,
No,
I got
but those-
absolutely nothing out of...
But usually that's the kind of comments we get.
Lionel, I would suggest going on a dating site, setting up an eye-catching profile with a cute little header, and just make your profile a little comical throughout, and I'm sure you'll land yourself a swell woman.
Vendetta says, SCB DIY FTW, Las Vegas, the most action-packed craft show ever.
We could totally do that.
I totally could. You guys have no idea. I'm going to teach you bitches how to make fire with sticks.
Have you mastered that?
Yeah.
I remember one summer because we used to camp a lot. You still do. I don't anymore. I said fuck
I
that.
do a lot. I get bit by bugs
Yeah.
all the time.
And I remember one summer I tried.
Camp again?
Well, we spent a day outside in the woods.
I tried every
Voluntarily.
camping way to make fire ever, and I succeeded with the
Magnesium?
magnesium, and I succeeded with the steel wool and the car battery.
That's fine.
But I could not, for the life of me, get two fucking sticks to rub together to start a fire.
So the thing is, a lot of people think it's two sticks you rub together, but that's not true.
I know
There are two methods of creating fire with sticks. There is the bow method, where you wrap a string around it and you pull it back and forth, and so it's constantly spinning on another harder piece of wood, and that friction heats the wood up and starts a little ember.
And
And
if
then
you-
the other one
and
is the hand spin method, and that one, I mean, you've got to be pressing down as you spin at the same time.
And the third method is use a lighter.
yeah.
So you have that
well, with
option
wood
as
it would
well.
be matches. But usually your matches are wet, or you've already rubbed off the striker part, or
This is why you get Strike Anywhere matches and you dip the heads in paraffin wax before you store them in your gear.
Again, or you bring a lighter. I don't even understand why this
I go
is
to
an
Walmart
issue.
and for $2 you can get a little magnesium block.
Yeah.
Magnesium block.
I buy those big stick ones that you go.
I don't camp anymore, so I just go.
Oh no, I
have-
don't use it to camp. I use it to light candles.
I have the hotel
make my
concierge
house
come
smell
light the
nice.
fireplace.
Yeah, that would be about it. So
Hell yeah.
I mean, the reality is my key is I just go with her.
That's
let
true.
her
That
handle
is
it.
true.
I am a lot of people's emergency action plan. Just me. And be like, I'm going to call you. I'm like, not going to answer my phone.
See, you've just learned how to put ice in your big giant jug, how to start a fire. What else are we going to teach today? This is awesome.
We're going to teach you how not to be a creepy fuckwad. Step number 1. Stop touching people you don't know.
All right, so let's get into it then. We knew it would take, what did we got? 30 seconds? I don't know, how far in are we?
Yeah.
So
We said we didn't want to jump right into it. We didn't. We did some DIY
Like,
shit.
Let's be nice first. So, guys, we just came off of,
2
back-to-back
weeks.
bashes.
Yeah.
Amazing time. So first, just to share, let's discuss some of the awesome aspects of both events that we were at.
If you had the amazing opportunity to go to both or like do the weekend of one and the first half of the other, congrats to you because you got to see the amazing aspects of both of them. Stu's Bash, the what the hell is he calling out? Excellence Vegas Summer Bash.
Plus.
Excellence Plus Summer Vegas, whatever it's called. Stu's thing. It's super duper upbeat. It's got very, very modern music. There's a very, very heavy influence on the socialization aspect and the relaxing and enjoying yourself and partying it up, and just a very like good time party atmosphere. That's Stu's event. Very, very social. Very social butterfly-y. Which is great for a lot of people. I'm not a social butterfly, so like I would go and sit in a cabana and mad dog people who walk by me. I'll be like, don't come in here. I own this. I paid for this. Like, don't have any random people out.
You would know that the only people that are in the cabana with her are only those that she wants there.
That's true. If you ever saw me in a cabana with people, you know that's because either A, I like those people, or B, I was forced in there under threat of violence.
My ass doesn't want to stay on the chair today.
Your ass doesn't want to stay anywhere.
It's like I have ants in my pants.
And you didn't even go outside.
One of the great things about the bashes that I like is getting to see everybody. I got to see, like I said, I got to see Glitz and a bunch of people that we don't get to see
regularly
often here in Vegas.
So we moved into then the following week. We went to Bree's pop-up party,
right?
Formerly Well-Rounded. And also, super amazing feel. Super amazing atmosphere.
Super chill, very relaxed. I loved the Sam's Town. Like, that was an amazing location. The room, I don't think they were expecting as many people to show up as they wanted to. So I know there was some talk about the room being a little cramped. And I'm like, that's because it was amazing. But the great thing about it is that room was in this location where we were sort of kind of took over the whole hallway too. That party spilled out into the hallway.
There was plenty of room in that room.
Oh yeah, there was plenty of room in there.
Photos.
Yeah, there was plenty of room in there. The vendor fair looked amazing. I was there as they were all packing up, so there was a bunch of different people there. I had to go scout to find out where we were going to set up at. And we got an amazing location. Love that location.
For us, I'm a huge fan of both venues.
Yeah.
And I have a little bit, my heart's a little at the Plaza for one reason. And that is the first time I was ever on this show. You guys were broadcasting from the Plaza.
From upstairs
I was not a host yet. My ex-husband and I were staying it was Bree's. I want to say it might have been her first well-branded, well-rounded event. She's done events for many, many years. But I believe it was her first event branded as well-rounded. And I remember coming off the elevator, and you guys had this big, amazing setup in the hall, and I was super excited, and, I knew some of the other hosts at the time, and there is, I went back and found it before. There is a video of me out there using my real name talking to you guys for the first time. So I always kind of think back to that moment because I remember for me what an amazing experience it was and how much fun it was. And I know that now as we interview people at these events, many other people get that same kind of, excited, oh my gosh, oh, I'm nervous to go on. And then afterward, they're like, oh, that was so much fun. And that kind of reignited when we were at, we always get some really great people. And it was literally a matter of first at Stu's event at Excellence Plus, we had more people than we had time for.
Yeah.
We
had people
others
who were like, we didn't even, this is the first time in 3 years we haven't interviewed Tad from the Valley. And he supposedly.
And he was right. He was like, do I go on now? And I go, I'm sorry, Tad. And I'm like, in a few minutes, you guys were packing up. I didn't know what else to do. I'm like,
He swears every year he's with his girlfriend, but.
We've never seen.
We've never met.
We've interviewed him for years.
He's like one of those recurring characters that
happens
once a season.
Every year. Yeah. So that happened there. But really great people. Like I said, we didn't even have enough time. And then the next week when we got to the next event, to Bree's event, we literally went a straight 4. We only had to stop. I think we had to charge at one point.
We got a 30-minute break
because
to
I got
recharge.
a drink.
Yeah.
And then, but that was it. We were literally, and the very first people I walked in the room, and I'm just like, okay, when I find people, I just go right up. Like, I'll walk up to somebody and I'll be like, I'm with SinCityBounty. We're out there doing the show. Do you want to come out and chat? I always like to try and find some new people. And then, of course, we have a lot of our, we'll call them regulars because they always, as soon as they know we're there, I have one gentleman who will message me before he's traveling out, and he's like, which event are you at? I want to be on. So anyway, I went up to a table, and I zeroed in on these 2 girls, and I just said, would you guys, oh yeah, like I barely finished, and they were jumping up, they're like, we've always wanted to do it, and they got up and they came out, and bam, like that was it.
Was that the 2 girls whose names I can never remember, even while we were interviewing them 30 seconds after they gave me their names?
They were super high energy, super excited.
Yeah, and they were like, no, one of them was like, oh, I don't want to talk, but then she ended up talking.
Right, and then she's all like,
yeah.
So she was in, yeah. Because her friend kept trying to, her friend was the one super excited, and her friend just kept saying, come on out. And I'm, of course, like, just sit down. All you have to do is on the headphones. You don't have to talk. And then that was it. She was off.
We tell people all the time, you don't have to talk. You just want to sit down with your friend. That's fine. You don't even have to put the headphones on. We're telling them, you don't have to talk. You don't have to put the headphones on. They're like, so I totally had sex this week. Like, I swear to God, it happens every single time. And nobody was shy. Every time we asked them if they got laid, they were open about it. I thought that was great.
Right. So, anyway, 2 back-to-back amazing events. Great feel from both, great energy from both, great vibes from both. 2 venues, and I'm not being like super happy like we got to sell it, but if you've ever been there, I mean, you're going to enjoy yourself. I know even like one of the hosts of the event bounced to both, obviously their own, but they bounced to both, and I believe the other one was going to, but then couldn't. And this tree.
Toxie is my favorite in this tree women. I did not know. I would like to be a yew because that is the wood of war, you cocksucker.
I don't even know what that meant.
You must be a birch.
YEW is a tree that is usually used to make weapons of war like bows.
Do you think regular people know this?
No, which is why I'm explaining it.
We're a teaching show. That's what we do.
We
but
educate
you guys are
the
laughing
masses.
at the joke, and I'm sitting there like, what the fuck are you talking about?
All our nerds who are watching totally got that and loved it. Lionel, since her descent from the trees, she just goes by woman, and tree women miss her immensely.
So, anyway, so these events were really great. We had a great time. We, as hosts, we literally walked away from both events going, I had so much fun. I felt really great. It was a really, really great vibe this year. Just not much more I can say other than I just walked away feeling good. Like I felt like I got re-energized, and I wasn't even at the whole
We were just there for those nights.
It was just absorbing the energy from those 2 evenings.
And
that
from
it
the
was
people.
just,
And from the people who sit down with you or that
Right.
you run into and you talk to.
So it was absolutely, and then even then, because I'm the one out there like getting people, it's getting stopped and like, hey, and having discussions and people kind of, coming up. It's such a good vibe. So then here's what happens. A couple days later, you go on social media, and then you find that not everyone had as good of a time as you did. And again, admittedly, we're only there for, this time we were only there for these particular, our broadcast events, but we've been there longer periods in the past. But it turns out this year that mixed in amongst all of this amazing, like, I hate to keep repeating good energy, but I'm telling you, like, I walked away just feeling so recharged. Positivity, just good energy.
Everyone we interacted with at both parties was having a good time and seemed to be seriously enjoying themselves, and that that just, you absorb that if you're thrust into it for hours and hours at a time. But
Right.
apparently behind the scenes, or maybe not behind the scenes, but not everyone was having as good a time.
So here's the deal. And then afterward, you kind of hear that there were some creeps, both male and female, people not keeping their hands to themselves, making others uncomfortable. And let me just kind of clarify with all of this, because if you've never been to an event and all you see is a post or two saying this, you're going to be scared off and not want to come. And that is not the case.
It's the exception to the rule, and we're trying not to make the exceptions the rules. So we're going to cover a little bit of bash etiquette for you, so that when you go to these things, you don't end up inadvertently bashing on, or not bashing, but inadvertently smashing someone's vibe. Like,
Or making somebody uncomfortable when you don't intend to. Now, first, if you intend to make people uncomfortable, well, fuck you. You don't belong there.
Right.
This isn't your thing. Don't come here. Don't ruin our good time. Don't do this.
if you want to ruin someone's good time, go downtown.
Go get married. I don't know.
That's really the best way to do
This
it.
is what I
Like,
know.
That's it.
One of the first things that happens is you see someone that you haven't seen for a year, right? And your first instinct is to raise your arms as in, come give me a hug, and you go up and you hug them because you haven't seen them for a year.
Right.
But you haven't seen them for a year. So you don't know if their life has changed. You don't know if they've gotten married. You don't know if they've had some kind of trauma in their life where hugging is not the rule anymore. So that instinct needs to go away.
I feel that I do. I kind of agree. And listen, I was reading a lot of, not a lot, but I mean, I was reading some of the feedback after this where, they were accusing, some guys were touching inappropriately. And, like, listen, it's not limited to a big event. It happens different places. I can't tell you how many times I've been somewhere where, like, my ass has been grabbed, or I had more than once, believe it or not, I had a guy stick his hand down my pants. Once was in a club in, was like all you can drink, so that should have been
Clue.
a red flag for me. But it's like in the Tropicana or something. It's like you pay for this cup and it's $20 and that's all you can drink. And right in front of my ex-husband, this guy stuck his hand down my pants. And that wasn't a plus size body positivity event. That was just a regular.
I
think I was the only fat person in the club, to be quite honest. But it's happened. It's happened at different events. It's happened at clubs. It's not limited to. Probably the one place it hasn't really happened is when we've gone to the sex clubs.
No, I have been inappropriately touched. So we went back when I was still with my ex, and this guy kept grabbing my ass. The first time I turned around, I was like, "Hey, not cool with that. Please don't touch me."
Which is very nice of you to be that.
I was nice the first time. The second time he did it, I turned around and I said, "Dude, what the fuck? Stop fucking grabbing my ass." The third time, my ex, who is not a violent person, turned around and said, "If you touch her again, I'll go out to the car and get my gun and I will shoot you." Because he kept reaching around my ex to grab me after I had said no.
All right,
We ended up going and telling the bouncers, and the guy got ejected.
Thank you. That's the next point.
Yeah, we ended up, like, I gave him 3 strikes, you're out. Like, that was...
So we've been to these clubs how many times?
Tons.
It happened to you once.
Yeah.
And the key was you let somebody know and they took care of it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're at these events and something happens, tell somebody.
Yes.
They
Immediately.
have security. They have the people who are running the events. Tell somebody, because if nothing else, if even for yourself you're like, all right, he's stopped, he's gonna stay away. I would still mention it because you don't know who else they're doing it to. And with that being said, I came to a little bit of a realization myself. I'm extremely friendly, and they mention that sometimes there's women who do it too, where they will grab guys. I personally don't recall like just walk up and grabbing a guy's crotch. It's
Oh, no, I don't
not really me, but I will. I do get like touchy and huggy and everything. So that is something.
I do it with people that I know I can get away with it with, that I already have like a pre-arranged agreement I can touch them.
Right.
I don't touch strangers.
If you know it's okay and it's accepted, then
Yeah.
great. But I think that we all need to start going into these events moving forward. Like, we can't control whatever happened previously. Moving forward, I think we just all need to be aware. Like,
I think that's the thing. You have to remember this is moving forward. Society has changed. I remember a time. We've been on the air how many years now?
9 years.
9 years. 9 years. Holy crap! Almost a decade. And at some of our first events that we went to, they were very touchy-feely. Everybody was touching. Everybody was drinking. Everybody was hanging out together. And the rumors were flying about who was doing what, where. And we even make jokes today about doing things in the parking lot. But that was from years ago. I don't think any of us has ever gone to a parking lot to suck someone's dick in at least 6 or 7 years.
I mean, some of us even more than that, people. Even more, even though it's a constant source of jokes here.
Society has changed.
Yeah.
But moving forward, it
Here's
can
what
be
you
better.
do. Jasper said you need to bring a consent form to even engage a female. No, Jasper, that's not it. But you just need to be aware. You need to be aware of your space, and you need to be aware of their space. Period. And that goes for everybody. Like I said, when I drink, I get super friendly. You know, like I don't recall ever grabbing a guy's crotch. And if I did, I apologize, and I'll apologize right to you. But, you know I go up to people, and I'm like, hey, and, hugging them, and, I'll probably get, like, in their space, and so I can stop and go, oh, okay, I mean, this is things that I may have done in the past, whether it's here or elsewhere, so I'm just gonna be aware. Like, bottom fucking line, we're not your parents, we're not here to, yell at you, send you to principal, like, we're not here for anything, other than if you laugh once or twice at the show, or you learn something once or twice at the show, great. You already learned about the fucking tree. So if you learn something else from the show, it's maybe be aware when you're in the presence of somebody's personal space as to whether or not they want you to invade it.
Right, and if they
Period.
unequivocally tell you, please don't touch me, please don't touch them. If someone comes up to you and wants to give you a hug and you don't want to be hugged, tell them you don't want to be
She's
hugged.
so tired,
Right.
she's being super nice. What she means is, if somebody tells you, please don't touch me, don't fucking touch them.
Like, I'll be nice the first couple of times, but I'm going to throat punch you the last time.
And I think when it comes to etiquette, I think that's how it should be. Don't immediately go onto social media and blast people because you haven't told them not to touch you, number one.
Right.
Right,
That's
yes,
actually,
yes.
just to share, that's actually an HR thing. Where if somebody comes in and they report to, like, we'll just say me or what have you, or you, and they report and say so-and-so is sexually harassing me, one of the questions they're going to ask is,
Did you ask them to stop?
Have you explicitly told them to stop? And there'll be one of the steps that they'll kind of go through. Because if we've had this relationship, I'm gonna share a real life example. So I used to be a supervisor and a trainer, not an athletic trainer. I believe that's obvious and goes without saying. But I was a trainer, and there was this girl, and we had this ongoing joke from, it was something we had seen in a movie, and we'd be like, hey slut. And I recognize now, as a grown adult, I should not have been calling somebody else this. But one day they decided it was no longer okay. And so they didn't say anything to me, and instead they went right and escalated it. And so the first thing they were asked is, since this has been okay, and it's been acceptable between you, have you told her to stop? Obviously I stopped. Lesson learned. I haven't called anyone at work a slut since. However,
And this show she doesn't get paid for, so it's not work.
However, like the first thing they'll say is, if something has been acceptable between you, if you and I have been, caressing each other, and all of a sudden you're like, fuck, I don't want to do this anymore, then you just say to me, hey, stop doing it. I'm no longer comfortable with it. And then if I continue doing so, then I'm a fucking creep, and then you sock me and you punch me in the twat.
I'll twat
You
punch
twat
you
punch me.
with a knuckle out.
Bree.
I will frog twat punch you. Just
Bree, I say it all the time. Please tell me if you have any problems at all. I can't do anything if I don't know.
exactly.
So I actually was with Bree when she found out via social media that there was something at one of, somebody who had been uncomfortable at an event. And that's how she found out, was through social media.
After the event.
After the event, days after the event. What do you do at that point? You
Yes.
can't. You have to give the event hosts a chance to rectify it. And security, I know that there was another discussion going on about, someone being a creep. And a security guard who has been security for events ever since I've been going to events. I don't even think he was at these ones. And he jumped in and he said the same. He's like, I can't do anything if you don't tell me.
If
Tell
you don't,
somebody.
that old see something, say something bit, that is for far more than just terrorism, you guys. It's for everything. If something is happening and you are uncomfortable with it, you need to go inform somebody who can do something about it immediately.
Especially if you're not confident enough to say something for yourself.
Yeah.
If you're not confident enough to say to someone, please don't touch me anymore, or I really would like it if you would just leave me alone. And if you can't do that, then go talk to someone in authority.
So, we've talked about what
Or
you should
I feel
do.
like sometimes I even feel. Sorry. Go on.
We've talked repeatedly about how if you are the one being assaulted or being made uncomfortable, that you need to be able to speak up. But we also need to talk about the etiquette of being the creepy person. If someone tells you, you're in my personal space, please don't touch me, please don't hug me, I'm not comfortable with this, you need to react in an appropriate manner and just walk away. Say, thank you, I'm sorry, and walk away. Literally, that should be the four words that come out of your mouth. Thank you, I'm sorry, then walk the fuck away. Go find someone who is receptive to your advances. It's super easy. You go around, you talk to people, you start leaning into one another. Like, all of the signs are there. There's fucking YouTube videos about it. I'm not going to give you the fucking... You just fucking Google that shit. If you are rejected, be gracious and graceful about it. I talk all the time when I am informing people about being a conscientious educator. If someone is doing something that you are uncomfortable with, you need to tell them in a nice way that you're being uncomfortable, and that person needs to react in a nice way, apologize, and move the fuck on. Reactionary responses will not solve the problem. If someone touches you for the first time and you tell them, fuck off, motherfucker, even though you all think that's what I would do, that's not what I would do. The first time someone touches me inappropriately, I say, hey, it's not cool, I'm not comfortable with that, please don't do that again. Their response should be, oh, my bad, I'm sorry, thanks anyway, and then move on. If their response is, well, fuck you anyway, you fat pig bitch, then I will punch them in the face.
I have a caveat to add. So one of the things that you said was, if you can tell them to go away, at being the creepy person, maybe you should think about that someone said that to you, that you're kind of creeping me out or whatever. If someone says that to you, maybe you need to look at your own behavior. Mm-hmm. Because one of the things it says that just move on and find somebody else who's more receptive to you. Bree just brought up, if it's everyone's job to protect each other, by not speaking, you're not protecting others, you're putting them in harm's way. Mm-hmm. So if the creeper person to you was like super creepy, report it. Even if you were nice, even if you told them to go away and they went away, just let someone know, hey, you might want to watch out for this guy. He came on to me in this certain way and it was super creepy or whatever. That way they can keep an eye on them. You're not allowing that guy, because it didn't work on you, to go let it work on someone else.
And again, the whole point of even bringing this up isn't that we want to, tell people, don't go to events, here's what's going to happen, or scare anybody away. Again, this is a minority amongst these groups and these events.
It doesn't happen.
However,
it doesn't happen that often, but it happens often enough that we need to talk about it.
right. And that, oh yeah, Abby, you missed it. We've been talking about bash creeping like this whole time.
Yeah, it's been like 30 minutes of Bash Creeper. You totally missed out. So yeah, so the 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 summary of the whole situation is that you need to tell them to stop touching or talking to you or being creepy to you. Just tell them. You need to acknowledge that what they're doing is wrong. You need to tell somebody that they have done something wrong. And then from there, either if they continue doing the wrong thing, they can be removed, or if they learn their lesson and stop being a fucking creeper, then everyone can go back to having a good time, including that person. Because if that person paid to have a bash band to be there for the whole week, they need to also be able to enjoy this vacation that they've booked for themselves. If they're not going to enjoy it because they're doing the wrong things and they're going to be constantly rejected, they need to be educated on what it is they're fucking doing wrong. Right. So like, please stop touching me. It's not appropriate for you to come up to me like that. I'm not interested. You know, I really think being nicer to one another, starting with don't touch people you don't know. It's like, seriously, it's like you guys are a bunch of fucking 2-year-olds inside a toy store. You don't just grab toys you don't fucking own and play with them. Your mom would run up and smack your fucking hand and be like, don't touch that, it's not yours. Take it like that. Just like when I tell my 4-year-old niece was here all week, she kept trying to grab shit. And I was like, don't touch it, it's not yours. Remember that. If you see something or someone that you do not know and they are not yours, don't touch them. Auntie Sierra says, don't touch it, it's not yours.
You know, I had, and if you're not super comfortable addressing somebody or going up to somebody, I guarantee you're probably with someone who will. Like, I was live doing a live Facebook video we went to a club event one time, and it was you and I, and we were at the table, and so I was living, and this guy came up and started kissing me up my neck and my ear, and I actually didn't even know who it was. And turns out I didn't know him. He just felt it was okay.
That was not okay. I took care of that situation.
Like, she totally handled it, and I'm still sitting there going, I don't even know what's happening. Like, who do I know that? And I'm like trying to, do I know this person? And like immediately, swift, like this one here took action.
If it's not yours, don't touch it.
So, one of the things that I want to say is, the society, and I've said this already, society has changed. Maybe some of these things have been insular bars, because that just happened. I mean, a few years ago, but it has happened, right? The guys licking your neck.
About a year now.
And maybe it's because these events are insular, and it's like a fantasy getaway, kind of, that people think that. Hold on.
Limited to the events.
Let me finish.
Go for it.
Not just that event. Other group events, right? They're kind of isolated, and people think it's like something special outside of reality.
It's like tourists coming to Vegas.
Yeah, go in awake. Check yourself. Boys and girls and transgender. Check the way that you act. Check the way that you behave. And check the way...
Nope. Sorry. Are you talking about the person it's being done to, or the person being creepy?
The person being creepy.
Okay, that's fine, because I'm just gonna say, in the instance of people who have said like others were creeping on them, one other individual got accused of it being the way that they behaved and that they attracted that type of attention.
I'm never ever going to side with the creeper.
Okay, so then we want to make sure we're conscious that we're not the creeper.
Yeah, be conscious of your actions, that you're not the creeper. If you don't know how to spot that you're being non-verbally rejected, Google it, bitches. There's a whole website called YouTube. You might know it. We might be on it. Click subscribe. They will tell you. There are clues. There are courses you can take. You can find people who will teach you. This is what it looks like when someone's not into what you're doing.
No one's going to do all that work to not be a creeper. Most people don't even know that they're a creeper.
If they're not willing to do that work, then they're not willing to go into something conscientiously either. And that's the sad thing. But if we all work together as a team, hopefully we can make the creepers so creeped out they don't creep on us.
Do you know what makes people double check what they're doing? When we talk about it. Mm-hmm. When everybody talks about it and discusses it in a forum such as this, and you can say, am I fucking creepy?
Right.
Am I the
Well,
creepy
it was. It
If
was.
someone has said to you once or twice at a party that you've gone to, dude, you're creeping me out, chill, woman, maybe you need to check yourself.
Right. If the definition of insanity is repeating the same actions and expecting different outcomes, I know it's said differently by other people, but I'm not trying to plagiarize some bitches right now. If you keep getting the same reaction to the way you interact with people, and that's a negative reaction, it's you, dude. It's not them or dudette. If your constant reaction from people is negative, it's because of something you are doing, and it's not them. It's you. Period. End of fucking story. If your answer is, if your complaint is, oh, all of these people are the same. They always act the same way, and I don't ever think I can hang out with them or interact with them because I always get treated the same way. That's your problem, not theirs.
And
You are the creepy fucker, and stop being a creepy fucker.
And not that that was ever okay.
No.
Not that it was ever okay. But it has been
Less okay.
pushed into the background before, and that's why. But nowadays, bitches are going to call you out. Dudes are going to call you out. Please go to someone and tell them, because it's more than likely you're at an event.
And most likely they're not just doing it to you. They're
Right.
doing it to other people too. And you need to speak up and tell somebody, hey, I have asked this person to stop touching me. They won't. They're being a dick. Then management or the coordinators or the admin or the deputies or whoever the fuck is there, security,
Any of them.
they can take care of it.
They can't effect change if they don't know. And they can't effect change well after it's over. If you're uncomfortable,
You
right
need
then
to
and
speak
there,
up.
get somebody who can go grab security.
If we frequent sex clubs, this is not a secret. Every single club we go to has signs up everywhere that says no means no.
Right.
And
At a sex club.
at a sex
They're
club,
very huge on consent. Consent
big,
is
big into
big,
consent.
big. That's
If
why
you-
the time it happened to you, and they immediately handled it. Like
Yep.
the minute you went up to somebody.
As soon as I went up to him, I'm like, listen, this guy has touched me 3 times now. I have asked him 3 times to stop touching me. And I'm just kind of fucking over it because if he's touching me, he's touching other people. And they ejected him immediately. Now, I got called a few disgusting words on the way out the door by this guy. But listen, bitch, you were the one touching me, not the other way around.
And you told him to stop.
I told him I was nice twice. The 3rd time we threatened his life, and then we got him booted. Like, that's how I roll. I know I don't seem like it, but I will be nice to you the 1st time. Probably nice to you the 2nd time. The 3rd time I'm kicking you in the dick or the tit. Whatever. I don't give a shit. I'll punch you in the face.
I always, when my daughter was little, I always taught her when we talked about someone touching you inappropriate. The first thing that I always said is, what you do is you scream really loud and you're like, stop touching me, or don't touch me, or that's my personal space. Like you say something really loud.
And
And then if they try it again, then you kick them in the fucking balls. Like, bam, right there.
Abby says that's the key, though. People are so afraid to speak up. You have to speak up.
Right.
In this day and age, a lot of the bashes I have found are super empowering for women.
Very.
Right? About your physical attractiveness or whatever, because everyone looks great at these things. It's one of my favorite things about being, especially the pool party one at the plaza, because I never saw so many 2-pieces on fat girls in my life. It was the best ever.
I seriously just wanted to follow some of these girls around and just be like, where did you buy that? And
Right.
just write this shit down.
We were at
Right?
Ray's event, and I literally tried to get somebody's dress. Like, I was
You did.
trying to bribe people
I
to go
tried
to
to
her
help.
hotel room
and steal her
So-
to
dress.
get this dress.
So hopefully some of the self-confidence that now that you've gotten about the way that you look and the way that you handle yourself can cross over translate into your confidence and being able to say, excuse me, but I really don't want to be hugged. I really don't want to be touched. Please don't touch me anymore. It's super simple. It's super easy. You said no, your 4 words were meaner, but
No, my 4 words were my 4 words.
yes.
My 4 words were what the creeper should say, which is thank you, I'm sorry, and walk away.
Right.
The 4 words you should say, let's see if it's 4 words, is please don't touch me.
There we go.
And I will say I had a gentleman who he regularly attends the events, and the first time I met him many years ago, and I didn't speak up, by the way, just to share, full disclosure, I didn't speak up because I haven't always used my words in the way that I should be in the past. Now obviously I will, but many years ago I didn't, and also in many cases I would actually expect my ex-husband to speak up for me as well, but apparently no one feared that big guy for whatever reason. I totally forgot what I was going to say. Oh, anyway.
It was important.
I had this guy who, the first time I met him, he had walked up to me and he was having a conversation rubbing my thighs. And he has since learned. I've seen him many years since in interacting with others, and he doesn't do it. He was made aware, and he took action, and then he knew to stop. And it's
I want to know who this
pleasant.
person is now. You're going to have to tell me out there.
But it's been pleasant interactions, not only for myself, but I watched him interact with others, and he was made aware, and that was it. He didn't recognize that what he was doing was, necessarily considered creepy or uncomfortable. Now, yes, of course, it seems obvious, but maybe for whatever reason to him at the time it didn't. But he's aware. He's quite the gentleman at the events, and just a really, really great individual. So people can be good. They can change. They can be more aware of their actions. As I said in the beginning of the show, when I first started reading some of the comments, and a lot of them are saying like women do it as well, and it just made me go, oh shit!
Am
I
me?
one of those women? Have I done that in the past?
I am 100% positive I am one of those women, and I'm super duper sorry. Please, if ever you are uncomfortable with me touching you, tell me. Please don't touch me. It makes me uncomfortable. I'm sorry.
That goes for
telling
all
me.
boys and girls because she touches them all.
I do. That's kind of the joy of being pansexual. I can sexually harass all of them.
But she will not
you
anymore.
can't, so call her out on it.
I shouldn't.
But she won't, so. But it's the
Every-
same thing. I know to be kind of, more aware
Did
in
you
my
turn
actions.
on our top fan badge?
Me?
No,
Am I a
no.
top fan?
The last Facebook update, they turned them on for us.
Oh.
Wait, I don't have
Every-
a top fan.
John
No, we
just
can't be
posted.
top fans. We're admins.
No, John just posted. You all are lovely. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
But he's rated as a top fan,
Yes.
along with Timothy Rampage Rush and
I don't
every
know who Bella
holiday
AB
season.
is.
Every holiday season, I for the past 3 or 4 years, I put up a post on all of my pages and profiles about not forcing your children to hug their relatives and parents' friends when they come to town to visit your house. Mm-hmm. Kids have been inundated with learning, or have learned that they should show affection to whoever it is,
Even if they don't feel
even if they
affection.
don't want to. Mm-hmm. And so the post is basically, don't be the creepy aunt or uncle and force a kid to hug you or kiss you or whatever. If a kid doesn't want to hug me, then I'll fist bump, I'll high five, or whatever. I know that you shouldn't have to tell people to leave you alone. You shouldn't have to tell people, don't touch me. It should be something that we all know, but we don't, because we didn't grow up that way. Kids today, the young crowd today, probably knows that a little bit more. But tell people. Be the first to tell them, you're kind of creepy, dude.
We want these events to continue being fun
Yes.
for everybody.
Yeah, we do.
Like I know I kept using like the same words over and over, but I walked away from both having such a rejuvenated spirit. Like I literally just absorb people's good time, their high energy, their.
You sound like you should be wearing patchouli.
I probably am wearing patchouli, just so you know. I don't care. I feel I absorb others' happiness. I can't. There's nothing more I can say about that. it becomes infectious. So many people were having such a good time.
Hold on. John Charles Lee, do you know Bree? Here's a perfect example of something that is creepy. You just called her baby. Do you even know her? If you know her, that's cool. But if you don't know her personally, calling a woman baby who you do not know is not cool.
Now, if you happen to be like her great-grandfather,
That's cool.
and you knew her when she was a baby, and it's just old habit, I apologize.
I don't. Because I don't think we know you.
Maybe she knows.
And we're very, very protective
So we have
of our
5
Bree.
minutes. Do you want to cover
What else was there to cover?
the video?
Yeah, because I don't want to end on that kind of note.
I will just say, I will make one comment, and that is, thou shalt not take SinCityBounty's name in vain. I'm just saying. We are not a place for you to spread your drama and bullshit. Thank you.
You can tell us how many times you went to the sex club this weekend, though.
I have not gone in many months.
Damn it.
I'm planning on going.
I live vicariously through you, you
I'm
know.
planning on going this Saturday if you want to go.
Wait, why am I just hearing about this now?
Because we literally just started talking about it today. It's Tuesday, bitch. You've got till Saturday.
Why was it not the first thing? Wait, now why when you started talking about it? If I have any plans to go, you're the first. I'm like, wait, hold on. I'll let you know if I can go. You want to go?
Well, me and the partners are going. If you'd like to go, you can join us.
Wait, hold up.
So there's a couple things I want to say about what's been happening in the news lately. There's a meme going around. I think you reposted it, but it's for those of you who don't know of this generation. What's this generation? The Y? No.
Z.
The Z? The young kids up right now? Millennials.
No.
There are more millennials.
Millennials are 20 years and older.
Okay.
They're
Kids
older
who are
than
growing,
20.
they're old. Yeah, most of them
you
are older
posted
than
a meme
20.
that said there are
and they're-
more
I was
millennials
gonna-
than there of voting age than there are
Baby
boomers. So you can vote to overturn any of what these old fuckers do.
But the millennials have been voting. Millennials are older. You're almost a millennial. Like
I'm an exennial. I'm right
you're
on the
right
cusp.
on the
What's the new
cusp.
one now?
So
Z.
they're
Generation Z.
there's something millennial, but they have another term.
Anyway,
for
the whole
that.
post-millennial.
point
They're
is
the ones. Your memes are a
go
little
get
wrong.
your
I didn't
go
wanna
get
call
your
you out.
fucking voting card, and let's do something about these people who won't do anything about the fucking shooters in this country.
And just so you know, the next group that's coming up voting, I mean, I can't speak for everyone because, I can't speak for all teenagers who are coming of voting age and around there, but there are a lot more that are very,
In my son will miss voting, not in this presidential election, but the next presidential election by like a month.
yeah, mine misses voting in this one. So she's very upset.
Yeah.
But she'll get to vote the following
vote the
time. But I
following.
will tell you that there's a lot of liberals coming up.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of liberals. Because, I don't know, I don't want to get super religious not religious, super political with a few minutes left, but I think the age of the whole Republican because your parents were is changing. I think that was something that was, previous. You were kind of, just like you were kind of, you based your religion based off of your parents.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the individuals coming up now and coming of voting age are really going to be voting different than what we've seen in the past. So they just need to all get out there, register, and vote.
Yeah. We need to vote. You guys need to vote.
Just
Vote.
keep your eye on what's going on. I mean, really, there are so many uninformed people. Sorry. What happened this past week is pretty tragic.
There's no excuse for what happened this last week. None whatsoever. In any of the 3 locations that the shootings happened in, there's no excuse for it. There is no way anyone can look at this and say anything other than these people should not have had access to weapons.
I don't know
Period.
what we could have done about it, except the one guy who had the list of people he wanted to harass and people that he wanted to rape in high school. That should have been a clue, I think.
But unless there's a law that's going to prevent him from access,
Here's the
that's
thing.
it.
I was in the military. Okay? I own guns. I am an advocate gun owner. I think we all have the right to own a gun. I don't think we have the right to own a fully automatic machine gun. I don't think we have the right to alter any weapon we own to make it fully automatic, because you, as a civilian, have no need for military-style weapons. A handgun, a shotgun, and a rifle are basically all you need, if you even need that. I don't even think we all need them. I need them because gunpowder makes me horny. Other people need them because they hunt for a living to feed their families, or even trophy hunters. I know a lot of people don't like them, fine, whatever. But there is no
Wait, hold on.
reason.
Can we name this episode Gunpowder Makes Me Horny?
No, I was actually going to call it creep, but maybe, yeah. Gunpowder makes me horny. Hey, this is Alexia.
Toxie.
And Sierra,
And I'm sorry, but we'll have to see you next week.
if you're brave enough.
Later, bitches.
Do you know, we had somebody who wanted to say the later